Questions? If not, moving on. House Bill 849, Department of Agriculture.
Department stands on its testimony support.
Thank you very much. House of Representatives Cynthia Thielen. In opposition. Councilmember Margaret Wiley, I saw.
Okay. Okay. County of Hawaii, I think, opposed this bill. And I think, let me just say what the problem examples, for example, on our island, and passing a bill that addresses property, protecting private property, that of the non-GMO farmers, those who are conventional or organic, and looking at that problem, how do we address that so that it's not all, if you allow unlimited GMO farming, any of the corresponding crops will be contaminated. So the federal government hasn't done anything about this. There's been one bill in 2007. It did not pass, and again, there was something in 2009, doesn't pass. The state hasn't done anything about it, and basically, we look around at Kauai and Latin America and what's going on there, and we don't want to see that. So we have a problem. You know, there is a problem that hasn't been addressed, and the people come to us on the local level and say, help us. And we try to balance. We had, on that bill, 13 days of hearings, 600 people attended the first day, thousands of pages of written testimony. I drafted that and tried to balance it, exempting papaya, exempting grandfathering in existing GMO. So trying to hit a balance. I think really this comes down to, this state, as we see it, the state saying, we're not doing anything about this, but we don't want you to do anything. And so it's really, I guess I'm asking for respect. I see that you all are doing a lot on pesticides. I appreciate that. You're trying to address those issues. I defer to that. But where you're not doing something, the federal government isn't doing something, the state government isn't doing something, allow the counties to have some sense of ability and authority over things that really have to do with property and land use, which is traditionally a local issue. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is another one that we have a lot of testimony, providing comments in support, in opposition. Any president would like to testify? Please.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, committee members, Inga Gibson, Hawaii State Director, Humane Society United States. And I just had a few comments, Chair. I obviously work closely with the Farm Bureau, the Department of Agriculture, the Cattlemen's Association, and we believe that the intent of this measure is not to limit our ability to work with the counties when it comes to animal welfare issues. However, we are a bit concerned because the definition, or there is no definition really, of agricultural practices. We have seen in other states similar legislation used to prevent the application or the strengthening of animal protection laws, specifically as it relates to farm animals and equine animals. And given that this applies to farming and ranching, there is a probability that this could prevent counties from enacting other ordinances as it relates to those particular animals. So again, we don't believe that the intent is to limit the county's authority, but again, the reality, given that agricultural practices is not defined. Also, there are many unique things about each county, as you know. Thankfully, Hawaii does not have any confined animal feeding operations. We don't have any intensive animal operations that you'll see a lot on the mainland. We want Hawaii to be a model of humane and sustainable agriculture and farming, and we just want it to be clear that the intent, again, of this legislation isn't to limit the protections that are currently afforded and may need to be further afforded to farm animals and equine animals at the county level.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Aloha, welcome back to the Capitol.
Aloha. I did submit testimony strongly opposing this measure, and if you don't have it, I'll provide additional copies. My name is Gary
Yes,
Hooser.
we're in receipt of your testimony.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning, representatives. My name is Gary Hooser. I presently serve on the Kauai County Council. I'm here today testifying as an individual council member in strong opposition to House Bill 849 relating to agriculture. The main thought I want to leave with you is the laws and protections afforded by the state and the federal government should represent a floor, not a ceiling of protections. That should be the state regulation. It should be the floor. And if the counties would like to have increased protections, then the county should be able to do that, just as the state could have increased protections over federal regulations in most cases. Neither the state nor the federal government is truly aware of what happens on the ground within each county, and to strip away the county authority to protect its own citizens is, in my opinion, unconscionable. If this is passed into law, local communities, local governments will not have the authority to protect the health of their citizens or their natural environment against the actions or inactions of any agricultural operations. Our authority will be limited to calling the appropriate state or federal agency, regardless if anyone answers the phone, regardless if anyone responds affirmatively or not. And if there are no state laws or no federal laws governing that dangerous activity, the county would be virtually powerless to do anything at all. And if the state and the legislature is really honest about the state's current ability to enforce and protect its citizens, the track record will show that it's woefully inadequate. It is public record that it takes the Department of Agriculture years, I'm not exaggerating, years to investigate and close out cases of pesticide drift and contamination. There's a multi-year backlog of these investigations and unresolved inspections, and it's also public record that this is woefully underfunded and in many positions are left vacant for the years. The companies are fond to say they are highly regulated, and this is flat out not true. Federal agencies are rarely ever on the ground conducting inspections, and the same goes for state agencies. Large companies who apply restricted use pesticides, many of which are banned in other countries, and I have the documentation, the source documents to support every single thing I'm saying here today. They're applying chemicals 260 days a year, and they're inspected by the state maybe twice, maybe 8 times at the most per year. I've attached a document that has electronic links to all the source documents. Real quickly, in summary, the bill talks in its prelude that this need for this is about newcomers to the island. And with all due respect, this is flat out not true, not in Kauai County. The citizens of Waimea, it's a plantation town, local citizens, multi-generational citizens, are suing DuPont Pioneer for their agricultural activity. And the state has done nothing to help them, the federal government has done nothing to help them, and the county of Kauai has stepped up to try. And that's what this is all about. The laws passed in Kauai County are because there is no state law. The state law that was passed here 2 years ago requiring a certain amount of disclosure still has not been implemented by the Department of Ag. The quote from the Constitution saying that we shall conserve and protect agricultural lands, I support that. The Constitution also says that the state and all its political subdivisions shall conserve and protect environmental resources, land, water. Again, the laws and protections afforded by the state and federal government should represent a floor, not a ceiling. In conclusion, I ask that this committee hold House Bill 849 and please do not support stripping away the authority of the county governments to protect their citizens. I'm happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any others present? Please step forward. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the chance to testify here. My name is Jan Pappas, and I did submit testimony, although it may have been late. Okay. And I'm just here as an individual. I don't represent any. I'm concerned about health and safety for the people of Hawaii and my family. I am in opposition to Bill HB 849. As Americans and residents of Hawaii, we expect to be reasonably protected from possible dangers posed by businesses, farms, and government operations. Activities such as pesticide application, use of toxic chemicals, and possible water, soil, or air contamination occur during, quote, modern farming. At the very least, we deserve the right to know when these activities are occurring near our homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses so that we can protect adequately protect our families. But many Hawaii citizens feel that today we are not adequately protected from these dangers despite federal, state laws or the lack of them. And we are not always told the truth about the dangers that we face. And companies and farms continue to operate with impunity despite public outcries about the dangers that they pose to the community. I found a website called Beyond Pesticides, and on that there's a list of 33, they have a list of 33 states and 400 school districts that have pesticide policies across the United States. I printed it out. It's on recycled paper, so it's it's single-sided. But this is the list of school districts across the United States that do have individual policies for pesticides and for integrated pest management, which is a way to avoid the use of pesticides entirely. So those are separate districts deciding what they want to do about pesticides in their area. Okay, Hawaii should not relinquish county governance unless and until we are assured that we and our families can be kept safe by state and
Your
federal.
time is up. Could you please summarize?
Yeah, I will. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Due to a lack of appropriate state and federal regulations at this time, I don't think we have that assurance. So for this reason, I oppose Bill 849, and I hope that you will do the same.
Thank you very much. Other testifiers? We'll take you, followed up by you. You may come here and say 1, 2, 2, and 3. Okay?
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair. I flew here from Maui this morning. My name is Kate Griffiths, and I'm the publisher of the Maui Mama. This is a resource guide for mothers on Maui. I also have an honours degree from the London School of Economics and Political Science. I understand economics, I understand politics, and I understand sustainability. The Maui Mama gives mothers a voice. Last year, I gave voice to a mother who contacted me. She had a baby, gave birth to a baby with gastroschisis. This is when your intestines are outside your body. This is a known side effect to atrazine, a chemical used heavily in farming here on the islands. It also gave voice to another mother who is here, who was fundraising as she had been diagnosed. She's going to give birth to a baby with gastroschisis and needed to raise funds for travel and medical expenses. It gave voice to a mom who contacted me who tested her drinking water for glyphosate. Results were positive. It also gave voice to a mother who had children who had glyphosate in their urine in Kihei. I tested my children in Haiku. They are not positive for glyphosate. It also gave voice to a mom who went into a room in the middle of the night and it was filled with cane burning smoke. And she rushed her kid to the hospital who was in the ER. It also gave voice to the supervisor of WIC, Women, Infants and Children, who wrote an article about pesticide exposure in children. They are very concerned with the patterns they are seeing here on the islands. Maybe if the county had more to say, in the past, I live in Haiku. It is former pineapple land. My soil is contaminated and there's black plastic protruding through the grass and tree roots. So let's learn from the past. I believe decision of land use that affects our community members, our water, our land, our babies, our children, should be governed at a local level and not driven by an industry that is profit-driven. This bill would take away my community's voice. It would also be a big slap in the face for Maui County. I'm sure you all are very aware. We worked really hard on educating and informing our community. We voted and won and passed the GMO moratorium all we were requesting was an environmental impact assessment on ag practices. So in conclusion, I oppose the county's amendment. They cannot enact laws, ordinances, or resolutions to limit the rights of farmers and ranchers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Either way.
I'm Winnie Heath from Mililani. Chair Tsuji, Vice Chair Onishi, and committee members, since almost all of you except 2 representatives from Kauai signed on as introducers of this bill, I kind of think, well, you're going to pass it. But I'm here to try to convince you to kill this bill. It's embarrassingly poorly written to the point of being farcical. You say in the last several decades, urban encroachment and new neighbors complaining. Tell that to Walter Riddy that his clan is encroaching on Monsanto, on Molokai. That's ridiculous. And then if you want to eat pork, you have to tolerate the smell? I don't think the people on Kauai next to Syngenta test fields are complaining about the smell. It's breathing in who knows what. They're only asking the Syngenta to reveal the amount and what kinds of chemicals they're using. So this is not going to do it. It's ridiculous. It's not about the smell. It's about the poisons. I do want to thank you for telling me about Article 9, Section 3, Hawaii State Constitution, that the state shall conserve and protect agricultural lands, self-sufficiency. I'm going to use this to try to get the land to overturn the rezoning of Ho'opili and Core Ridge. If the Constitution says to preserve agricultural lands, why are we doing that? But anyway, that's off topic. And I just want to tell you that you really need to rewrite this bill. It's so poorly written. Your amendment talks about a nuisance, farming operations, a nuisance. People are not talking about a nuisance. They're talking about their health. And if the state won't protect the health of the people, then the county should. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Aloha, my name is Felicia Cowden. I am from Kauai. I'm here, I'm a part of a number of different organizations, many of which are farm-related. Regeneration's Botanical Garden, Kauai Farmers Union, that's part of Hawaii Farmers Union United, and a number of other projects that we have. I live on the northeast side, and we have a lot of organic farms, and that is part of what defines our whole community and where we're going with it. The challenge for me with this preemption clause in the Right to Farm bill, adding such that the counties cannot control agriculture, is very problematic. The majority of the population is in Oahu. It's urban. The majority, subsequently, of the representatives are from Oahu, an urban area. The neighbor islands, the counties, represent rural areas. And we need our rural areas to be able to have a voice in how we manage our rural communities and to know the subtleties of which area is focused in what type of farming and another is out of the purview, for the most part, of the larger community in the legislature here. And we have seen on each island so much action from the counties. And that's not the fault of the county council, it's the people not feeling represented by the legislature and feeling abandoned. And so it's a lot of work to get up and go out and scream and camp in the rain and everything. It's not recreational for anyone. No one likes doing that. It's been very divisive in our community. And the industry has been able to keep kicking it back to the state. The state is underfunded, not able to send their people out. The Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health came out to the council, I think March 2014, and they owned, when they did that snapshot, that never before has the water been tested, and 100% of the streams across the state showed pesticide use in there. Now, it's not just these companies, but it's not being looked at. The state isn't looking after it. Let the people help. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want you to take that preemption amendment out.
Yeah, testifiers. If not, members, questions? Oh, please.
Aloha, Representative Tsuji and Agriculture Committee reps. My name is Nomi Carmona. I'm the lobbyist for Babes Against Biotech, and I'm here representing our 39,000 members in opposition to the Right to Farm bill. I'm a little concerned and upset that it's back up again. I thought that the community made itself really clear last year. The further you remove the policymaking from the ground level, the more disenfranchised the actual constituents become when they feel like their voice matters. And I think it would be one thing if the regulations that all these counties are seeking right now, that all these communities have fought so hard for were taken care of at the state level, but it's been years that constituents have been coming before this committee to ask for better protection, and they're not getting it from the state level. So I think, just like Councilman Hoosier said, the state is supposed to be a floor, not a ceiling. Like, how would you feel if the federal government took away your state powers to regulate agriculture and pesticides? Because that's what you're doing to the county level. And the different levels of government are supposed to balance each other, check and balance each other. So I think I have lived in these different communities, in these different counties. I have lived in all of your districts to help the communities on your islands pass legislation at the county level to regulate agriculture and pesticides. They are uniquely different. Each council is different. Each governing body is different. Each community is different. And while we want a lot of the same things, if we lose our home rule right to specify what are we doing, what are we even having this form of government for? What's the point of the county council if they're not able to enact ordinances which protect citizens' life and health by regulating pesticides, which we know even on the label are linked to health problems, even admittedly. So I would ask that this be the last year that you try to take away our county home rule and that you kill this bill, because we're not going to stop asking for our rights and demanding them. And if we didn't already have home rule, then you wouldn't keep trying to take it away. So I ask you support the people and oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Chris, I'm sorry, you were earlier on the list. Mr. Manfredi.
Thank you, Chair, Committee. Chris Manfredi, Hawaii Farm Bureau. This is the Ag Committee. This is an agricultural bill. I'd like to speak for the farmers and ranchers. Hawaii Farm Bureau supports all forms of agriculture. We have members that practice organically. We have members that practice conventionally. We have members that practice biotechnology and everything in between. And we're of the mind that we need all of it to be successful. We're a very remote state. We have weeds, pests, disease imported to our state by airplanes. We need all the tools necessary to be able to produce a safe, healthy, and competitive crop. Speaking to competitiveness, we are often placed at a disadvantage because of the high cost of inputs, high cost of labor. And if we're going to be competitive on the store shelves, we need to be able to keep up with weeds, pests, and disease. Now, the federal government and the state budget allocates a tremendous amount of resources to regulate in this area. The counties have no demonstrated capacity to regulate in this area. And for counties to regulate effectively, aside from just banning, you're talking about a whole different and costly and redundant regulatory regime. Farmers need certainty. Farmers need a level playing field. We're trying to seek coexistence. We have many examples of coexistence in the state. I don't want to debate pesticide use. I don't want to debate biotechnology in the context of this measure, but farmers need a level playing field. We plan crops years in advance. Our markets are laid out years in advance. Our yields are projected years in advance. We're often throwing curveballs with weather, invasive species, changing climate, drought, theft. The least we can do is provide some stability in the regulatory regimes. And again, the counties have not demonstrated any capacity to regulate in this area other than just ban. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those who are present, we have a long day to go yet, and we have about 8 other bills to be heard. So those of you who don't mind, you may stand on your testimony, but thank you for your presence. Please.
Aloha, my name is Hoku Kabibi. I'm from the island of Kauai. I flew in this morning to express that we really, at the county level, would like to keep home rule. So if you could please, I flew all the way here. I've been part of community organizations on the island of Kauai to pass bills, and we have done that because, like Felicia said, the state level just hasn't cut it for us. We're in a desperation level. I have an 11-year-old child. She's in a school that is close to chemical testing fields, and it's become kind of a desperate situation on Kauai. You know, that's how we feel, and we as Kauai people, we know what's going on the island. We know what's going through the doors in the state here, and seeing the same players coming up and blocking the same things, and we're just asking for home rule to stay where home rule is at. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any others?
Aloha.
Hello.
My name is Clayton Kubo, Waimea Kauai. Yeah? Okay. If this is the right to farm, just Dustin, Waimea town. A sprayer right here. Another sprayer over here. If they have the right to poison the air that I breathe, that my son breed also, that my mom, my neighbors breed, I don't think they have a right to do that. If I did that, I think I would be arrested already. But here, you want so-called dust screen underneath there, the tree line. The dust is like, what is that? Estimated like 200 feet in the air. Right to farm. Yeah. Some right to farm. And I guess I'll be seeing you later, Mr. Representative Tsuji. But thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Any others?
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, esteemed members of the committee. My name's Summer Star. I'm coming from the island of Maui. I sit testifying as a private citizen, but also as a member of the Hawaii Farm Bureau, Hawaii Farmers Union, and a former board member and secretary of the Hawaii Organic Farmers Association. And I would urge you to oppose this bill, and I'll make a quick comment that I would just like to remind you that what happens on the other islands outside of Honolulu, especially in our agricultural communities, is very unique. It's something that we should be able to determine ourselves based on the information, expertise, and experience that we have there in our communities. Thank you very much for hearing this bill.
Thank you very much. Any others? If not, members, questions? Representative Ward. If not, forever hold your peace. Other members?
I yield to whoever wants to go.
Thank you.
I've already monopolized.
I accept your yield. Members, if not, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Vice Chair
Councilwoman Willie.
Yes, Representative Onishi.
Okay, County of Hawaii passed an ordinance regarding GMOs, and it was challenged in court. And what was the decision by the court?
The court said that there was a comprehensive statutory scheme related to the same subject matter that implicitly showed the intent that the state has the authority with regard to the agricultural matters.
Okay, thank you very much.
And so we're opposing that.
Councilman Hoosier.
And can I
Thank
comment?
you. Thank you very much.
We're opposing that and appealing that.
Thank you.
Wrong ruling.
Councilman Hoosier. County of Kauai passed a pesticide ordinance that was challenged in court.
Yes.
And what was the outcome of that challenge in court?
The court ruled that the state had, meant to be the overall regulator of pesticides in agriculture. But we are appealing that decision,
Okay.
and
Thank
the state has not regulated in the areas that we did. The areas of pesticide
Thank you very much.
disclosure and buffer zones are not covered by state law right now. So that's an unsettled question, I think.
But the state has the right regarding the laws in regards to pesticide. Am I correct? That was the ruling.
I think this committee would not be hearing this measure if this legislative body felt that this counties did not have authority to regulate right now. What you're having before you is an attempt to take away power that we say we have. And so you're trying to take that power away. We say we have it. The judge has ruled his thing, but the legislature clearly has not concluded that issue. Otherwise, you wouldn't be having this bill before you.
We're trying to conclude that, and we're basing it upon decisions made by the court in who has jurisdiction. So thank you very much. For
Okay, they did not rule in the state constitutional matter.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Any other questions? I'd be happy to address the issue of the state county's ability to regulate. That was the issue. No?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Vice Chair? No. Members, if not, thank you very much, and we'll move on to the next on the agenda. House Bill 849 relating to Agriculture Amends Hawaii's Right to Farm Act. The recommendation is to pass this as is. Any comments?
Chair.
Chair Kawakami.
Thank you, Chair. Out of respect to the Chair, I'll be letting you know that I'll be voting no for some simple reasons. One, I am not convinced that this bill is necessary to achieve the intent that the bill covers. I believe that current statute stands. Secondly, I believe that the little island of Kauai is leading the way as far as going out and attempting to cut through the fog on the issue. And I mean that by saying that we have partnered with the state, the county and the state have partnered to assemble a joint fact-finding committee comprised of stakeholders from the industry, farmers, people with science backgrounds, to do some research and separate some of the fact from fiction. So I believe that this is unnecessary at the time and premature. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, and that's very much appreciated. Further comments on this legislation? Okay. If not, Vice Chair for the vote. The recommendation was as is.
House Bill 849, recommendation is to pass as is, noting the attendance of all members. Is any members voting with reservations?
With reservations.
Okay. Representative Tokioka, Representative Kong,
Reservations.
Representative Ohno. Anyone else? Okay. Noting the no vote of Representative Kawakami, are there any other voting no? Okay.
No.
Representative Matsumoto. Okay, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on. House Bill 8.